Hola chicas! Welcome back. We missed you all so much because last week we didn't really film. I mean, we posted, but we didn't film. We did take a look back. So we missed you. Welcome officially to September. It is the favorite season of mine. I don't know if this is one of your favorites.
I love the fall.
I love fall and winter and spring. I'm not a huge fan of summer. I don't know how to use
We're not a fan of summer in Arizona.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Arizona's just hot. But happy fall to everyone. We hope you guys are all staying safe. And because it is September, we are going to kick off fall with our fall looks for you guys. So today, clearly I'm not in a fall look. So this week, this beauty is doing her fall look. Next week, I will take off the blue iciness and I will do a fall look of my own. And let's get started, shall we? Mm-hmm. We shall.
So to start, we're going to go ahead and start with the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. And as always, I start with a base color before I go into the actual colors I'm going to use for the look. So for the base color today, we're going to be using Certified, which is literally the first color in the palette. So it's just this white color. And then go ahead and grab a fluffy brush like this. And you're just going to vigorously put your brush to the color and then cover it. And then we're just going to go in and put it all over the lid. Completely cover that lid with that base color so it looks like this one. So again, I'm going in with the color. Once the base color is completely on, we're going to go back into the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. And now I'm going to use the color Perfectionist, which is this shade. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to grab it. This shade right here. So it's like a lighter brown color. And so that's the color we're going to be using for our upper eyelid part. I'm going to be using a small, more compacted, fluffy brush because it does help a little bit more with the blending part of it all. So I'm going to kind of dab the color in there a few different times to make sure that, you know, the brush is pretty covered in the color. And then naturally, because I have a little bit more of a hooded eye, I'm gonna put this color, because it is supposed to cover the top part of my eyelid, I am going to put this a little bit higher above my crease. And you'll see towards the end of this why I did that, and I'll explain a little bit more. So to start, you're gonna take the color that is on the brush, and then you're simply just gonna tap it onto your skin as such. Just tap, 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 tap. And again, because I have hooded eyes, I am gonna carry this color up or start it up a little bit higher, because the color we're going to be covering our bottom eye with, we want to make sure that it's seen once my eyes are open as well. So again, once you've already kind of put all of the product you had on the brush onto your lid, we're now going to go into circular motions to make sure that it's all very nicely blended and to make sure the lines aren't as harsh. We want it to look really smooth. Okay, and I'm going to be using small circular motions to make that blend. And as you can see, it's already starting to blend out. And again, I'm not going to carry this color all the way to meet my eyebrow. I'm going to leave a little bit of space, kind of like here. It helps to give a little bit of definition between your eye color or your eyelid and then your brow. Okay, and then once you get into this inner corner part, you are going to carry the color to meet the inner corner of your eye, kind of like here. I carried it in just a little bit. And again, you can keep the circular motions, or you can just simply drag the color down into that inner corner. And then again, just make sure everything is really nicely blended. And then I need to add a little bit more color to match the right eye. So I'm gonna go in, tap it on, and then I'm gonna blend it out by making those circular motions again. Now we're gonna go in with the color Thick Skin, which is essentially just a darker brown color. So it's this color right here at the end. So again, you guys don't have to have these palettes, but just a darker brown would be great. And so we're gonna go in again with that compacted, more fluffy brush. And we're gonna tap into the color like 2 or 3 times. Make sure that your brush is pretty covered with it, or at least that side is. And always remember that the further you hold back your brush, like the further you hold it back, the easier it is to blend. It's a lighter touch, and it's easier to blend without actually taking off any of the colors that you've put on. So now, taking this color in, we're going to repeat the same step, except this time we're not bringing the color all the way up like we did the first color. We're just going to bring it to like, you know, a little bit below it, because we don't want to hide the perfectionist color, but we definitely want to give our eye a little bit more depth. So we're going to tap the color onto our lid. Don't worry, it's going to look really harsh at first, and make sure you bring it in a little bit. It's gonna look real harsh at first, and I'm just gonna keep tapping this time, just to make sure that the color is actually in there, it's packed in. And then I'm gonna go in and begin doing those circular motions to help it blend in really nice into that perfectionist color. And I believe we've said this in other videos before, but it's easy to add color. It's harder to take away color. So that's why we always start light and then build up from there. And don't worry if you get it onto this bottom part of your lid. It's not going to matter here in a little bit. So again, just continue those circular motions. If you find, oh, I'm covering that first color up, you know, I'm covering it up a little bit more than I would like, don't worry, we'll have a fix for that here in just a second. We just want to make sure that the color is evenly distributed across that top lid. And it's going to look really harsh, really harsh at first. Now we're going to go in, and this time we're going to take a little bit of a bigger fluffy brush. We're going to go back in with the perfectionist color, or just whatever light shade of brown you were using for that first color. We're going to tap it into the color like 2 times, so not a whole lot. But now I'm going to take this color and put it on top to make sure that we're not hiding it, and then again creating a little bit of a softer line. So again, I'm going to take this color and I'm going to tap it real light right on top, more specifically on the top part of the color, so that again these lines are not harsh. And then I will kind of blend it into the rest of the brown, and then continue with those circular motions. To give the look a little bit more depth and a little bit more warmth into it, I'm gonna switch over to the Anastasia Sultry palette. It's one of my favorite Anastasia palettes. And I'm gonna actually be using this really almost chocolatey brown color. It's called Dystopian. So again, it's like a super chocolatey brown color right here. And I'm going to go back in with that smaller compacted fluffy brush, and I'm going to take, and again, we can build on dark colors. We can't take away from dark colors. So I'm going to tap my brush into it 2 times. And this time I'm going to take the color and I'm going to cover my crease with it. But again, because I have hooded eyes, I am going to take it up just a little bit, just to make sure that the color can still be seen and that my work is not going to waste. So I'm going to take that color and I'm going to put it a little bit above my crease as such. And I'm tapping it on like I did every other color. Nothing has changed. And then I am going to begin doing those circular motions again. And this is just to create a little bit more depth. And then again, a little bit more of that warmth that we're looking for in the fall. And then I already know I'm gonna need a little bit more, so I'm gonna tap it again 2 times into the color, because I wanna make sure that it matches this eye. Tap it on, tap, 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 and then blend it out. And again, I'm not taking this color all the way up. I'm not covering those other colors that I have already put on. I'm simply just putting this darker chocolatey brown on to create a little bit more warmth and a little bit more depth. And then there are circumstances where maybe you're like, ooh, I went a little bit too much into that dark color. That's okay. You can always go back to the color that you used previously, add it on top and blend it on. So that there's always a fix, always a fix. So now we're gonna go in, we're gonna create somewhat of a cut crease. Because this is a more fall look, I just want it to all really blend really nicely. So it's not gonna be fully a cut crease, but
don't lie, you love a cut crease.
I love a cut crease, but for this look, it's not. I'm actually gonna blend it out a little bit. So to start, I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. If you have a concealer or if you have an eyeshadow primer, you can use either one. I'm going to take the brush of the concealer, and then I'm going to take a smaller flat brush. It's like this one. And I'm going to take the brush to the concealer brush. I'm going to take a little bit onto the flat brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cover the lower lid with this with the concealer. And the reason you do this is when you're working with a shimmer color, there is that potential that it could, there's a lot of fallout, or it's not easy to blend, or it doesn't stick on really well. I've heard that a few times. So I have found this to be an easier way to apply it, and then I don't have to work with any of the undercolors. So again, I'm taking the brush and I'm going to cover that bottom portion of my eyelid, which is ideally everywhere I'm going to put the more shimmer color. And again, because I have hooded eyes, I am going to carry the concealer just a little bit higher than my crease, because as you can see, when my eyes are open, I still want the color to be seen. Once you've covered the bottom part of your eyelid with the concealer or eyeshadow primer of your choice, we're going to go back into the Anastasia Sultry palette, and we're going to use the color Teak, which is like this brown, bronzy, kind of shimmery color. It's really, really pretty. So this is the color we're going to be using. Tick, tick. And so I'm going to be applying this with a flat brush again. This one's a little bit wider than the one that we used for the concealer or eyeshadow primer. And so with this color, there's not necessarily like an amount you have to use. Just make sure you cover all of the concealer or eyeshadow primer with this color. So I'm going to go in, take a few quick little dips into the color, and then now I'm just going to put it all over that part of my lid that has the concealer. So once you have covered your eyelid, the bottom eyelid, with the shimmery bronzy color, we're gonna go back into the dystopian color, which was that chocolatey brown color that we used, and we're gonna give the top part of where we put the teak color, we're gonna give it a little bit more definition because it did cover it just a little bit. So I dipped my brush into the dystopian color just a little bit, and I'm going back in with that smaller compacted fluffy brush, and I'm gonna take that brown color and just put it right on top of where that shimmer color meets the brown, to make sure it blends really nicely. And again, it's gonna look really harsh at first, but we're gonna blend it out in just a second. So again, this is just to create a little bit more of that definition and warmth into the look. And then I'm gonna go in with a fluffy brush, another fluffier brush, and I'm gonna go back into that brown orangey color thick skin in the Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm gonna dip my brush into there once, and then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna again go over where I just put the dystopian color. I'm gonna go over it in this thick skin color, and this is just to make sure that everything is blended really nicely and it doesn't look so like choppy. So my bad, I always mean to do one eye and then leave the other one for you guys. So I had already started on this eye, and then Millie was like, oh my god, you started on your eye, and I'm like, ah. So anyways, we're gonna move on to the under eye, and so I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna use my smaller compacted fluffy brush. I'm gonna use the color Thick Skin in the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette, and I'm gonna I'm gonna dip it in my brush in there like one time, because these colors are really pigmented, which is probably my favorite thing, is really great pigmented eyeshadows. So you really don't need to dip it in there too much. I do blow off the little bit of excess just to make sure it's not too much. But now I'm just gonna make sure that I cover the bottom lid with this color. And then I'm going to go back into the Anastasia Sultry palette. I'm going to dip my brush into there one time to the color Dystopian. So it's that chocolatey brown color that we had used on the top lid to create some of that definition. I'm going to use it to kind of bring in some of that warmth into the under eye. So I'm just going to start at the end of my eye and then bring the color in. And again, that just makes sure that everything blends really nicely. So for this next step, once we're done with the eyeshadows, I'm going to go ahead and create the illusion of a bigger eye. And so I'm going to go in with a nude or light pink eyeliner and I'm going to add that to the inner waterline. Just again to create the illusion of that bigger eye. To finish off the look, I am going to go in with my Benefit They're Real mascara, and I'm just going to add it to my lashes. Welcome back!
That took a lot of concentration on our end.
We're like
here.
3, 2, 1.
But I'm back. She did a fabulous fall look. I would do this. This is we switched roles today.
Yeah, we did.
When she saw me, because we get ready in our own rooms, you guys, when she saw me, I was like, look, I put color on my eyes. She's like, I'm proud of you. Verbatim is what she said.
Yeah, I did say. Because she, again, if you guys have watched her videos.
All the videos, I kid you not. And so that's why I wanted to do a color, except for the one where Dad did my makeup. All the videos I have done, all the videos I've done in neutral tone, but I feel like that's because
you like them.
I do, and I stayed in my comfort zone, and I shouldn't do that. So we're at Disney on Ice. Get it? I told you that off camera. we hope you liked today's video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on your post notifications. Follow us at The Real Pena Sisters. Go ahead and share, like, follow, subscribe, comment. Did I miss one?
No,
I didn't. So that is all. I forgot this time.
As always, we are
Sisters, not twins. Bye, chicas. Mwah.